seen her rush. Martini got a crush. Been pushing and pulling, it won't open, it's no good enough. Wide awake now, I can't carelessly.
The Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information, or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and this is a bit of a random live ramble because there's been some breaking news, hasn't there? We have signed Big Pat. We've signed Patrick Bamford from Leeds United, and this will undoubtedly be a opinion splitter. I've seen it already in our chat. I'm seeing it already, I think, in some of the comments. I'll get to those as soon as I can. Conor from One Leeds is going to jump on with us when he was driving when I spoke to him, and he's getting sorted out in the background. So hopefully that'll be something we can talk to him about. Obviously, being a Leeds fan, he'll know all about Pat Bamford. All I know about Patrick Bamford is he's not scored for a long, long time. He's very injury prone, and he's a bit of a poo house. I don't mind the poo-housery, if it's in the right. Look, I like somebody who's a bit of a wind-up merchant. I like that. I don't like it when it's happening to us, but then you've got to take it if you're going to be able to give it. So I like players like Michael Brown would be the prime example. Loved it. Ollie McBurney are a bit like that. Loved to sort of be on the wind-up. Patrick Bamford, I think, doesn't do it in the spirit of the game for me. I think it's more from what I've seen. And look, these are just highlights. These aren't seeing him across a long period of time, which is obviously what Conor will hopefully give us. So, I'm not a fan. The thing is, we know he can be a decent player at the level, a very good player at the level, if he's fit, which he very rarely is. He were on an absolute sack full at Leeds. You've got to imagine he won't be on anywhere near that amount at Sheffield United, particularly in a deal till January. You can only, accept the highest bid of what's available, as we were talking about with my dad yesterday when this was strongly rumoured. So I found out last night, actually. I thought, well, I officially found out this morning, but I had a message last night that I hadn't seen that said it had all been signed off last night. And it were definitely happening, and I don't know how I feel about it. Obviously, whatever happens, we support him, don't we? We want him to do it. It's like people are disappointed with Tom Cannon. It don't mean they don't want him to score in red and white. People are disappointed in Ogbenny. If he sets up the winner at Hillsborough next weekend, all is forgiven. Who helped put the ball in the Wednesday net? Cheo flipping Ogbenny. So we all want him to do well for Sheffield United. I want Patrick Bamford to do well. I hope he proves me wrong. But I feel like, have we slipped to this? Have we got to this level where we're signing players that nobody else wants? Because that's ultimately what he is. And I don't, that sounds awful. But if he were seen as a real hot commodity at this level, then it'd have been snapped up by now. And we've never been a team to scour the free agent market and just, it feels desperate. It feels desperate to me. And that is a sad indictment of where we are as a football club. A really sad indictment of where we are. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't, Wilder clearly doesn't have faith in what we've got at the top of the pitch at the minute. How does it feel if you're Tyrese Campbell? You're bringing in somebody that's not played for a long, long time. I don't even know if he were fit back in May at end of Leeds' season. We'll find out from Conor. But, you know, when was the last time he played a competitive game? When was the last time he scored? You're talking 18 months? I don't know. Is he the answer? And if he is, I don't think I want to know a question, to be honest. I'm disappointed. Look, I understand the thought process of he is the best we could hope for in a limited market. What's Conor saying here? I'm live, mate. Oh, okay. I think he might be struggling remotely to get in, but we'll see what we can do. Let me jump into some of your comments, see what the general feel is, because it's not great for me. I'll be honest, and I'd rather be honest. And you know, I hope he proves me wrong. That is the one thing I will stick to saying. So Alex starts off saying, "Hi Jimmy, hope you're good. When in a way, Bamford is a good signing. It shows exactly how far we've fallen. Hopefully he impresses and proves himself. Bring on January 5th. January 5 outs, 5 or 6 ins, hopefully. We're doing the plan for Jan tomorrow, live tomorrow night. I'm going to have to change a few bits now because this obviously changes some things. So, I know. And I think there'll be a lot more than 5 outs, to be honest. Ian says, this has Gary Medine vibes. Please let it work out. Up the blades, up the ramble. I hope so. The one thing I will say is if Chris Wilder rates him, it's good with me. It's good with me. I think it's a Chris Wilder type signing. You know, Ibu Adams and Cameron Brannigan to start off would be good. Average players that strengthen an average side. I don't think they're average players, to be fair. I like Ibu Adams. I like Cameron Brannigan. I don't think we'll get both because I think they're both predominantly centre midfielders, aren't they? So I'd like Cameron Brannigan. I think him and Ollie Arblaster in middle would be very, very good. Stick says, remember, reaction before Medine signed, ended up with his own song. Forget the past and the relationships. If this guy scores and takes us up, he'll get his own song too. Up the fickle blades. Yeah, you're right, Stick. You're right. His past relationships don't really bother me. The fact that he played for Leeds don't bother me. The fact that he sung the Doot Doot Do about Wilder don't bother me at all. I think the game needs stuff like that. I like I like that side of things. It's a bit like the sausage roll thing that Wilder were doing, isn't it? Don't mind any of that. It's what can he bring to us on the pitch when he's available. The best ability is availability, and he's not available for the majority of the time. Is he better than what we've got? I'd say if fit and firing on every single cylinder, then probably. But that's a massive if. That's a huge if. From what I'm hearing, Tom Davies is out again. From what I'm understanding, picked up another little injury now. So, is this what we're going to have with Bamford? It's really disappointing for me that we've had to we're in the position where we have to do this. You know, what does it say to Danny Ings, who's come in as a free agent? Is he not doing enough? James says, Bamford won't do anything with us. Our slow, weak and creatively lacking midfield is the main problem. Can't help defenders out. Can't create for attackers. Wilder losing my support bit by bit. Way up. I hear some noise in the background. Easy. Yeah, look, I can see him. I can see that beautiful face. Let me get him set up. Normally I'd try and do this on the sly and keep talking, but I can't multitask, as you all know by now. So I'll just get this sorted. This impromptu little live stream that we weren't particularly ready for, but Connor's born ready, so we're all right with that. Can you hear me, mate? Good. That's good. That's good. Right. Sorted. So, without any further ado, let's bring him in. It's Conor from Leeds. How's it going, pal?
Hey, pal. How's it going?
All right, is this a little bit of a Movember you've got going on?
I have, mate. Yeah, it's sorry, I just got your stream on. Yeah, I've had to do it. It's the football lads are doing it for charity. Problem is, I look like Tiger King. So
if the cap fits, mate. If the cap fits. Listen, have you only started yesterday? Then is that what's happened?
That's it, mate. Yeah,
all right.
Only one day of beard growth. But
yeah.
No, I can't normally grow one, mate. So I've got the I've got region of which I can grow it. I can grow it here and there, but not. I have.
All right.
Here. Okay,
I mean? so tash suits then, doesn't it? Tash suits.
Tash works. It is the growth is all right on the tash. Yeah, so there you go.
That's fair. Well, we're not seeing anybody that's saying they can't hear you, mate. So I can only assume that's good news.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, mate, where do I start with this? We haven't. The first we spoke about it was.
Hold on, Jim. I'm a little bit dark. I'm just going to turn the light on 2 seconds.
All right, you do that, mate. You do that. Makes all the difference. No, it's all right. It's good. It's good. The first we haven't spoken about this like personally, but the first bit of news you had about it, you posted in the group that we've got with me, you, and Cal Fowler, and it was just were it laughing emojis or something like that?
No, of course not.
No, of course not. But what, mate? So Matt, I don't know if you've heard any of the stream before you've come on, because I know you've been rushing to set up, and thank you for jumping on so quick. But I'm not convinced by this as a sign-in. I think a fit and firing Patrick Bamford at the top of his game improves us. What are the chances we're getting that? Very, very slim for me. What are we getting in Patrick Bamford?
It's a really good question. What are you getting with Patrick Bamford? I mean, obviously, it's not looking great for the Blades at the minute. And there's been, I think Charlie Austin before has come into a struggling Southampton side when he's experienced, like Shane Long has as well. So it could be a difference maker in that. It's just the reason it was so funny was because there's just been such a back and forth between Bamford and Wilder for the best part, nearly 5 or 6 years. Well, more than that. So I just found that quite funny. But yeah, no, mate, overall, I think in terms of ability, I think you've even grilled me on Bamford a couple of times, haven't you? I think he's done. Bamford. I thought it was going to be a bit of an MLS move. I know he's got family over there. I think his cousin's like one of the MLS lead journos over there. So he's mentioned her before, and I thought he was going to go over there. To be honest, he's expressed his want to go to America. So maybe that's not come to the fore. But yeah, in terms of ability, yeah. In his heyday, I wasn't always a big fan of him, to be honest with you. I thought he was overblown a lot by Leeds fans, but he had a tremendous season in the Premier League, 17 goals, England call-up. That was outstanding. That was in the COVID period, of course. I think with Pat, Jim, there's an experience there which could help, some of the young boys out at Sheffield United, definitely. I'd be fascinated to see his wage because from what I understood anyway, he was on a pretty hefty whack at Leeds.
Yeah.
And he was looking for that again as well in terms of a wage structure. So that's why I thought the MLS had been perfect for him. But yeah, all in all, I think as a player, you're getting someone who can maybe hold the ball up a little bit. He'll win free kicks in the opposition half. Not a finisher by my book. I think he needs one in 3 or 4 to put it in the back of the net, and that's on a good day. I think Leeds fans have a lot of sentiment to Pat Bamford, but I think if he was coming on for Leeds United right now, Leeds fans would have a huge problem. It's the injury record. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I didn't expect him. I know Sheffield United aren't doing that well at the minute, but I guess when you were rumoured with Ollie McBurney, that was one in the summer. I thought, yeah, proper signing that. I think Patrick Bamford is kind of that mould in a sense, but just nowhere near as potent or as good.
Nowhere near as potent or as good as McBurney.
I know. Yeah. No, I don't think he is.
You weren't saying that last season when we were arguing what best strikers in squads.
No, I think McBurney's proven it again, and even at a lower level, that he's doing very well with Mr. Joseph Gelhardt as well.
So we're currently playing with 2 up top, but I think it's strongly assumed that when Hamer comes back to fitness, he'll want to keep O'Hare in the side, and we'll go back to 1 up top. How's Bamford playing 1 up top on his own? Because you've played similar, haven't you? You played with the 10 and 2 wide men, 4-2-3-1 often. So how does he play in that sort of system?
Yeah, he's he's decent. As I say, it sounds like a bit of a low risk move for you, mate. From what I've read briefly on it, to be honest with you, in terms of getting others into play, it might work with Callum O'Hare. He might be able to if Callum O'Hare's just off him. I guess it's playing around Bamford's strengths as well, because he will hold the ball. He's 6'2". He'll hold up that ball. He's very limmy, if you know what I mean. Like I look at who we've got now, Lucas Metra. Metra's physical. He's a real brute. But you look at Bamford, and Bamford's just all limbs. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a big physical presence, but in terms of holding up the ball and just having mass to protect that ball, that is what Bamford does. So if you get someone like Callum O'Hare closer to him, some of your attacking players closer to him, Ty Campbell, it could aid him. I think ironically in a 3-5-2, he'd probably work as well. I'm not sure Wilder's playing that anymore. I'm sure you can let me know if he is or not. I don't think he is. But,
no, we're not, mate. No.
But a 3-5-2 and working with another body up front, I think suits Pat a lot as well. Because once again, it's that man just working off him. What he does have as well is he's relatively. He's very confident in himself. He's always backed himself. He doesn't, and maybe in a confidence-stricken Sheffield United side right now, that might help. And let's be honest, mate, he's been part of a couple of promoted, campaigns as well, which in terms of just sheer experience, I know people won't look at that. We had a lad in, I don't know if you remember him, last season. We had a lad in called Joshua Gilavoggi. Didn't play, fifth player. But fifth in midfield. But I reckon behind the scenes, he was one of the most important people because he glued and he brought everybody together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he never played, barely played. When he did play, you were thinking, oh my goodness. I think he played against Harrogate in the cup, and he had a touch like a trampoline. But it was one of those where he was in the background. It was his experience of being at Wolfsburg, of being at the top level, being in the Champions League, which was vital for Leeds behind the scenes. And he's a good, I know it won't sound a lot, Jim, but he's a good lad. He's a good lad. That's why I think a lot of Leeds fans got really offended when Wilder was just like, they're Muppets from Leeds and Bamford. Because Bamford's like, he's the nice guy. Do you know what I mean? So he will be a good egg in the changing room. I'm not sure. What's the success here? Is it like if he gets 5 or 10 goals, he's probably done well. But he's only
here till January, mate. It's only
is he?
Yeah, deal till Jan.
Right. So. Okay. So what's the risk there? Do you know what I mean? If he's only there, is it almost like if you can get to January and show your worth, then we'll extend you to the end of the season, or is it just like flat till January?
I think it's more. No, I think obviously he'll have the chance to prove himself, and he wouldn't have been signed if he weren't going to be involved.
Yeah.
But I think it's more just a bit of a sad indictment as to where we are as a football club at the minute. And I don't mean signing Patrick Bamford per se, but we've done it with Jairo Riedeveld as well, because Wilder's come in and he's back in and said this squad is bloated. There's way too many bodies in and around the squad. There's about 33 in and around first team training at times. He's had to send a few
33.
Yeah, there's a few lads he's had to send back to 21s and stuff like that when he'd prefer them out on loan and other things like that. Since saying it was a bloated squad, he's brought in 2 players on frees, which says he's no confidence in the current first team, certainly in those positions. And I just think it's a real red flag to me in terms of where we are as a football club, that we feel we need to get out of relegation trouble. We're not going to rely on Tyrese Campbell, Danny Ings, Tom Cannon, Ryan O'Neill. We are bringing in Patrick Bamford as well, because this is where we've got to. This is where we've landed, unfortunately. So
you think it's almost like throw as much what at the wall and see if it sticks?
It's desperate, sort of mate. It's desperate. Yeah. It's throwing. I called it. What did I call it? Bad money after good last night, and I meant obviously good money after bad. I just think why are we chucking more money at a striker for 7 weeks? When we could get to January. And if he's the player we want, that's fine. Bring him in, let him train with us, get him up to a certain fitness standard. If he's going to be the man that sort of comes into the mix and is one of our first team strikers, that's fine. As I say, it's not necessarily an anti-Patrick Bamford thing, but there's a reason nobody's picked him up. He's not a formidable force at championship level. We were expected to be at top end at league, and again, it's another kick to me personally. I think this is how I feel. That we dip into this level.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's how do you? What's the playing style with Wilder this time out as well? Because I knew exactly to the nth degree of what Wilder worked with last time, probably last season. Obviously, his strong campaign for Sheffield United in the 1920 season. How are you playing now? Because that's going to be interesting with Bamford if he is starting.
We've been setting up as a 4-2-3-1 until the last couple of games, and he's reverted to a 4-4-2. He had been playing Japhet Tanganga at right back because we didn't have a right back that he trusted, but he's brought Sariki back into the mix now, and Tanganga and Ben Mee are the centre halves, and we kept a clean sheet against QPR. Again, this is the sort of sticks we're holding on to at the moment. Kept a clean sheet against QPR at home with that back line. And Callum O'Hare's out.
He needs wide play, mate. That's what I'd say about him. He needs. It's almost like the overlaps, the cutbacks. He doesn't. I don't think Bamford works well with through balls. I think his best moments have been when the ball's out wide, so chance creation out wide. I'd say that's.
So is he decent in the air?
Yeah, he is. He is. Okay. He's decent in the air. So that's that'd be interesting because that's why I was like, if it is a 3-5-2, it's width in it. It's a hell of a lot of width. But
we've got wide men, but they're not traditional wide men. So in this 4-4-2 that we've been playing, he's played Callum O'Hare out on the left. And Callum O'Hare's not a left winger. He's similar to what he's done with Gus Emer in the past. He's not all right, he can have an influence from the left, but it's not a traditional left winger like you're talking about that's going to whip the ball in and, high for a cross for Bamford. The only other thing we've got on the other side is Ogbenny, who won't take on his man and don't cross the ball. So we want him to. And if we want traditional wingers, then we have to go out and recruit traditional wingers. It's all a bit of a mess at the minute.
It doesn't feel like it, from an outside perspective. That's why I put it into our group, because I was a little bit like, it's funny, isn't it? Because just of those two in general, but I was a little bit like, I put it in the group, and like you just said, you kind of already got that really in Danny Ings in terms of that experience. Head anyway. You've kind of already got that covered. He's 33, 34. I think probably I understand it with Sheffield United as well, and I get the perspective because I'd be similar. Kind of when you've got that already covered, it's like what's the long-term plan here?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? What are we thinking with Pat Bamford? Because obviously there's going to be a little bit of wage structure there as well. Are you going to get to January and then think, right, we'll pick him up fully? I tell you what, mate, his wages will be interesting. What is on there? I think he's one of the top earners at Leeds.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't, because it's such a short time frame. It wouldn't surprise me if we were paying him well. But again, if he's got a view to a deal to end at season, it wouldn't surprise me if he's dropped to like 25, 30k a week, which is still big wages for Championship level. Yeah, but it's nowhere near where we were on for your boys, is it? So
I guess with that, it's the golden nugget in it. He's got if you're looking at Bamford, if Wilder plays this well, I don't know what Bamford. This is a way of looking at it. I don't know what his motivation has been, because he's for really 2 seasons he's been sort of languishing in terms of striker options. But there was a period in the season where we finished, went to Wembley and lost to Southampton. That was a period from around January to March, April, where, to be honest, mate, he was brilliant. He was knocking them in. So it's not like he's complete fodder, and this was only like 12 to 18 months ago. If he's got a contract to play for, there is a massive point to prove there for him. It's a huge platform as well. Let's be honest. You're one of the biggest clubs in the Championship. I cannot believe you are where you are. I thought you'd have got out of it, and as soon as Wilder came in, I can't believe it's still as it is right now. To be honest, it's baffling me.
We are turning. We are getting better.
Yeah. So maybe, Bamford at like sort of 70-80% is very decent. And you'd probably say right now at 70-80% at Championship level, he's probably better than maybe Danny Ings at 100%.
Really?
Maybe potentially. So yeah, I guess that's it, mate. There's a low risk there and a potential high reward gamble for Sheffield United and Patrick Bamford. So maybe that motivation will take him over that point potentially.
Interesting, mate. Well, thank you for joining us, mate. I know you've just jumped on and scrambled, and I said I won't keep you on, so I'm going to get a chance to jump off now. But appreciate the input, mate. So, what if you had to be a betting man? Would you say Bamford's a success at Sheffield United, or do you think he might struggle?
I think I've almost convinced myself, to be honest with you. If you can keep him fit,
big if.
Yeah, echoes us with DCL, mate, which obviously I know you guys have got relations and connections with as well. It's the exact same thing. It's like if you can keep him fit, then Yeah, I do think he would be. I think that there'll be, for the first time in his career in a long time, there's a level of motivation which he hasn't had. And I need to get this, for my future, my family's future. He's in the Leeds area. Maybe he doesn't want to move as well. So
I like that perspective, mate. I like that.
Yeah. So, but I want him to. He's a good guy, mate. He'll bring a lot of people together in the background. I think him and Wilder will get along as well, even though they've had a spat. And yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's that short-term motivation which is going to give him the rocket up his arse he needs. And do you know what? Imagine if it turns out that he gets 5-6 goals between now and January. You're absolutely laughing and probably putting him on a longer-term contract to the end of the season.
To be honest, we play Sheff Wednesday next, and if he scores in that game, he can have a deal to end the season for me. So that'll do.
Yeah. Oh,
that'll
mate,
do.
I can't wait for that. That's got to be a win at least, and it's sure.
Oh, mate. Well, I don't want to think about it. We're not thinking about it till next week. So,
Get me
right,
on,
mate. Thanks for jumping on.
Get me on for a preview. I'll be the middle guy. I need some cheering up.
Nice one, pal. All right, I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, mate. See you in a bit.
Cheers, buddy. Top man, Conor. Thank you, mate. Appreciate him jumping on as always. Let's see what you got. I don't mind that perspective, actually. It's something that I've not had a chance to... I hadn't thought about this in great detail. I'm just giving you my honest, raw reactions to it. But Conor makes some good points there. He's clearly going to have a point to prove. This might be a contract that he's, desperate to earn till the end of the season. And that we know what an incentive that can be for players. So, yeah, maybe. Right, let's get back into your comments and see what you're saying before we wrap up. Kookaburra says, stop gap until Evan Ferguson. Love that. I'm going to have to go back and edit my plan for Jan now. So that's going to be fun because I spent almost all day sorting it all out yesterday. Brett says, I can see Bamford and Wilder getting on really well. Likes a player with a bit of needle, and I do think he does a job for us when fit. We have to take every advantage we can at the minute, up all the positive ones. Look, absolutely, Brett, I agree with you, mate. And if some people will be saying, well, Jimmy, why are you even bothered? Because it's just another player that we can potentially utilise to our advantage. There's no real downside. And there isn't really. If I give me head a wobble in that respect, he's somebody that my dad's been quite keen on for a while. And obviously you need to get him fit. You need to get him, up to speed. But I mean, I certainly trust, as does David Moyes and Roberto Martinez, that my dad's got an eye for a player. So if he's good enough for my dad, as Dodgy once said, if he's good enough for you, he's good enough for me. Good enough for two, that's what I want to see. So if he's good enough for two at Hillsborough, that's definitely what I want to see. So yeah, I agree. We've got to get behind him, haven't we? And we will. We definitely will, even if we're questioning the signing itself. Tom says, afternoon, mate. I'm not against this, as some will need someone with a bit of poo-housery, in my opinion, because as of right now, we have no character in the squad. And if fit, I think he scores at the Stye. Is he really going to... I think I can see him coming off the bench. But we don't know anything about his current levels, do we? He must be somewhere near, because you wouldn't sign him on such a short-term deal if he's no chance of playing. So he must be somewhere near fitness to get a deal. Alessandro says, not mad at the idea of a short-term deal till Jan. Like Riedeveld, Bamford simply has to be 100% fit and ready for the first game after the international break. No knocks or fitness concerns. Rich says, we have to try something, don't we, Jim? It's not working at the moment. Fingers crossed he stays fit. Up the blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, I'm with you there. This is the view from the mountain. This is definitely one that could go either way. It scored 17 Prem goals in 20 to 21. So certainly a gamble worth taking for me at the age of 32. He's never relied on pace. Links play better than others. Up the ramble. Top man Paul, the man mountain. I will be with the man mountain tonight on Ramble SC. We're doing some football therapy. And in fact, I'll give you a buzz. I'll drop you a voice note after this, Paul, because we're going to talk through how we're going to be doing start, bench, or drop England legends from the last 30 years. I'm going to be giving you 3 players for each position, you and George Motson. Terry says, hi, Jimmy. Loving the shows this week and was already buzzing from touring the lane last night on my grandson's birthday. Oh, brilliant, Terry. Brilliant. Hopefully, Pat and the returning fit players will be revved up for the derby. Up the blades. Danny says, I hope he plays him with 2 up top now. Welcome to the Blades, Patrick Bamford, says Sean. Dempsey says, another unfit goal-shy striker. Great stuff. Decent says, MO, we need a striker desperately. Blinky Fish is laughing. Super Positive Jack says, am I over the moon about this? No. Is it a smart deal? Potentially. If it doesn't work, we can walk away in January. If it does, we've found our number 9. Sully says it's disgraceful. Best music intro on YouTube, says Kershaw. Absolutely right. Matilda Shakes. Can't go wrong. Brand says, honestly, don't mind this if he stays fit. We didn't replace Moore and we lack someone up top with presence. It's a big if. It's a big if, Brand. But the more I talk about it, which is another brilliant reason why I love doing these streams with you guys, and that's what I want everybody's opinions on it, including Conor's. There's no real downside to it, is there? There's no real risk. Conor, it was one of the first things he said, what's the risk for Sheffield United if it's a 8-week contract or whatever it ends up being? There isn't. We get to have a look at him. We get to see if he makes an impact during games. And if he does, we sign him. If he doesn't, or he's we choose to level up instead in January, then we thank him and he moves on. So I'm warming to it. Even as the stream goes on, I'm warming to it. Shame on Wilder. He's been so disrespectful to our club in the past. Bamford, I don't think he has. I think he was disrespectful to Wilder, but it was a receipt, really, wasn't it? In terms, Wilder had called him a muppet years prior, and that was the catalyst for the do Wilder is a so and so. I don't mind it though, and I think they will be laughing about it now, probably at this moment. I don't mind it, Dino. To be fair, I think that's part of the banter of football. I think for me, it's part of it. Let's get David Hurst in a United shirt, says Sully, or Chris Waddle. He does not like signing the Leeds. He's not a Leeds legend, is he? But he's like a big figure at Leeds United, or has been in the past. Comes in for 9 games. If he gets 1 or 2 goals and 1 or 2 assists, then that's a good return for me, says Russ. Helps the ball stick up front. Matthew says Bamford, hopefully he'll do good. Up the Ramble. Up the Blades. Thank you, mate. Sean rightly says everyone kicked off when Gary Medine returned. And then he turned people around. Yeah, he did. That's fair. Very fair point. Cooler King says, for a couple of seasons, he was a very good Premier League striker. It's a case of how much of that striker is left. You never know, but I'm not hopeful. James says, Connor's used to driving people mad. Please keep the chat clean and respectful of each other's views, folks. Welcome to the Ramble, says Bright. Yeah, thank you, mate. Nige says, liked when we signed 32-year-old Bobby Davison. What did he do on his debut? For those that don't know, he scored 2, I think, at Hillsborough, didn't he? So, yeah. Oh, I'm not sure. Remind me, because my dad's a huge. He's spoken to him several times since. When fit, no one holds the ball up better. He works his socks off, says Kershaw. Leeds fan. Don't mind that. Works his socks off. He'll need to. I think we need a wind-up and a... Oh, dearie me. A wind-up merchant. Okay, I've got you, Jack. He could be the leader we need as well. Oh, I don't know about that. Luke's a Blade says, I'm not against it. Short-term deal. It's not like we're giving him a 3-year deal. Also, love a poo house. Yeah, me too. Brand says, I remember the mountain and the nose laughing at me earlier in the season on a live when I said we needed physicality and height up front. Wilder clearly thought the same. They don't know what they're on about, them too, Brand. They don't know what they're talking about. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke, both of them. If we survive Robbo, we can survive Bamford. Sean, again, coming in with a fair point. Not scored for a long time. Sheesh. Brewster did it for 5 years. Patrick Bamford's not that bad. King says he'll get you 10 goals. I rate him. He'll hold the ball up as well. He won't get us 10 goals before the end of his first contract with us, but here's hoping. Blinkyfish says he's hopeless. Sully not happy, says rubbish. Kershaw says off the pitch he's also a big presence in the dressing room and all the work for charity and local hospitals. Obviously that's great. No issues there. J619 says, happy about this. Never forget the goal at the end of the season he scored against Peterborough. Absolute screamer. He can't get injured. We can't have any more treatment tables left at the club. Like and subscribe. Up the Jamie Dumpling. Oh my goodness me. Ben says, if he stays fit, he'll be an asset. Don't count on him getting 20 goals for you. Can hold the ball up well. That's nothing to get excited about, being able to hold the ball up. nor am I expecting anybody to get excited about that. But it will help in our play. It will benefit us. We haven't been able to hold the ball up the pitch, which puts us under more pressure because it keeps coming back. So that, it's one of them things. Don't forget he's an England international, says Blinky Fish. I know they put that in press release as well. Rick says, hi, Jimmy. Good luck, that's all I'll say with Pat. A nice man, tries hard, but made of glass. Up the Ramble, marching on together. Thank you, Rick. Hope you're well, mate. Jack says, we've always signed injury prone. No one wants no different. David says, no risk deal for 10 games between now and January the 1st. We need the points. I'm leaning that way now, to be honest. Luke says, this is a clear message to the strikers that we have. Just as the sun comes and blinds me. Tim says, you're in a desperate situation. Yeah, I think, yes, we are. That's fair. Blunt Yorkshireman says, you honestly wouldn't know we'd been Premier League about 18 months ago with the rubbish we've signed, including Bamford. What a dire mismanagement of the club from all involved. Rich says, any Leeds fans telling you this guy is good isn't basing it on football. You're in even more trouble now, says Rich. Great. Ben says, similar to what's been said before, screams of a Gary Medine style signing by Wilder this. I hope that's right, because Gary Medine came in who were a success for us and wasn't a popular signing at the time. Scott says, hey up, Jim. That was my first point too. He's been training at Cov, but they're not bothered. I'm not sure the long game here. He's not played for so long, but can he play now? But on a short-term deal, you want him to play as much as possible. Probably won't play till December. Yeah, Sean says, this is nailed on. I bet Wilder says Patrick Bamford has a point to prove. Yes, he will. Phil says, hi, Jimmy. As fans, we support whoever wears that red and white shirt. We do, mate. We should all want him to do well. I would play him as a 2 up top, probably with Campbell up the Ramble. It was fit in May, says Chris. Interesting. Russ says, shows you that Campbell needs to book his ideas up. Let's just be real and understand the situation. We need a different striker. We've got one. It's 9 games. It can't be any worse. That's the reality. And I think, Russ, that is my overall reason for my mood about it all. It's not a direct dig at Patrick Bamford because he arguably comes in as one of the better strikers at the club, and we've got good pedigree, I think, who aren't playing well. It's more the fact that it's not working what we're doing already. And it can't get any worse up top for us. Not really. Ian says, if Bamford is the answer, someone has asked the wrong question. Rice says, I'm live on the internet. Sonny says, afternoon, Jimmy. Think this could be a very smart and sensible deal from Wilder. A deal till Jan could work out for us. If it doesn't, then we can let him leave and go for a solid target. Up the Ramble, up the Blades, like and subscribe. Yeah, that's fair, mate. That's fair. Neil says, hell no, the club have no ambition in signing Bamford. Scraping the barrel comes to mind. We could have gone for Sam Surridge from Nashville in the MLS, 24 goals in 37 games, and their season is over. It's not the same level, though, is it, MLS? To Championship. Not in my opinion, anyway. Liam says, still not forgiven Bamford for the sitter against Leicester and missed penalty against Newcastle that ultimately cost us survival. He peaked under Bielsa and has been injured and a liability ever since. So even Leeds fans are split on it. Big T says, if you can give us something we've not got, then I'm all in. I remember Gary Medine coming in and I hated him, but it worked. In CW, we trust. In CW, we definitely trust Big T. I'm with you there, pal. Scott says, Gyro's been all right so far since signing. Hope he can be Medine-esque for us, but I'm not convinced. Keith Edwards, still moving. Take him instead, says John. To be fair, he'll see all this, Will Bamford, and it's not great that he has to see all this, but he'll know that coming in as a Leeds man, an injury-prone Leeds man that's known to have Jack Rodwell vibes in terms of the wage that he took from Leeds and being injured for so long, he'll know that he's up against it. And if I click that mindset into play, then he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? He's going to come back, and those Leeds fans that are coming on saying he's an hard worker and he'll put a shift in if you can keep him fit. That'll do for us. That's the minimum that we expect. But if we see him running around and putting the effort in, it's a decent start for me. David says, you've said how will Campbell feel now we've signed Bamford. Well, perhaps he should take a look at himself, spending most of his match time walking about. Correct, David. Very right. Bang on, I would say. Tom says, I like this song when we went up. Best thing he did for us in the past 2 years. Oh, you liked his song, did you? Marching on together up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Hope you're good. Adrian says, it's good news for you. We all love Leeds. Good luck, Jim Bob. On his day, he is a good player, says Adrian. There's always caveats, though, isn't it? If you can keep him fit on his day, if he can do this, if you can get him into this position, if you can... And that's why he's been free and not been snapped up by anybody else. We just have to hope that it all falls in our favour, all those margins that we're measuring him against. Ray says, could be a masterstroke by Chris. Let's give him a chance. Could be brilliant, could be a flop. We'll soon see. Will he play some part in the derby? Up the Blades, up all the Rambles, like and subscribe. I think he will. Ray. I think he'll play some part. Rob says, afternoon, Jimmy. Hope you're well. First 5 minutes of the video is my exact thought process too about him. Time will tell, and I hope he scores. Me too. What he says, Jimmy's get your finger out. Luke says, I'm going to need Conor to say, I'm never going to financially recover from this. Nice to see Conor back on, says James. Mogga says, 300 minutes last season, no club since May. How desperate are we? If we can't get the best out of Moore, Cannon, Ings, perhaps it's the process, not the player. Well said. Neil says, I think the Blades must be sponsored by Booper. With us always getting sick note players, we need to have a real clear out and start again, getting rid of all the deadwood. Well, the deals to January gives us a chance for quick turnarounds, doesn't it? So I'm with you there, but we have got the opportunity to do it. James says it doesn't matter who you sign up front when your midfield is absolutely bobber. Tommy says, can't see Wilder getting anything out of him. Dice tried at Burnley and he wasn't up for it. S25 says, why? What's the point? Who's making these decisions? Just don't get it. He'll not be fit for 2 months and then the contract hopefully ends. It'll be a Wilder decision, this, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. It's a Wilder type player. It's experienced, it's savvy, it's proven. Wado says, Conor was the big advocate to get rid of him. Loads protected Bamford and Conor was always in the other camp. Interesting. I don't think he'll play much for you anyway. Just padding for the squad. Interesting. Paul says, sound response from Joe Exotic. It's a 3-month deal. The risk is low. Joe Exotic's done me. Definitely nothing to get upset about. If it works, it could be genius. It could, mate. Chris says, as a Leeds fan who stayed subscribed, thank you, mate. A fit, motivated Bamford is an asset. He's not been that player in 4 seasons, unfortunately. Will says it's got to be 2 up top now, surely. I think we'll carry on with 2 up top till Gus is back. That's my general feeling. And if he's back for the derby, wouldn't surprise me that if we're 4-2-3-1 for the derby game. I might be wrong. Chances are I am. Rye says, just shows how bad our summer recruitment was. It does, mate. Bryce says, as an opposite viewpoint, maybe Bamford might want to prove a few people wrong. Prove a point? Yes, possibly so. James says, we need leaders, not padding, sick notes, OAPs, and unathletic, mentally weak cowards. Say what you really think, James. Say what you think. Good luck, Paddy, says Mark. Frustrating at times, but class if he gets a run of minutes, which was his main issue for us. Wado says his body has had a lot of rest too. He may be in a much better place physically, having done strength work, etc. If you can get him in a good state, he could be really good. Alan says, with a £2 super chat, thank you, mate. Jim, lad. The resident pirate, I think. Alan, hiya, mate. Thank you for that. That's very kind of you. Jesus, it's Conor McMoans again, says Chris. Oh, harsh. Lewis says, I know you're not for this, mate, but I would echo ATB's comments. We need some help, and I think it's worth a go. We have little to lose, and it's different to what we have. Availability is a worry, though, up the Ramble. Top man, Luke, who is celebrating a milestone birthday tomorrow, so I hope you have a good day, pal. David Vinter says, I think it's a good short-term signing. If he does well, we'll sign him for the season. No loss. It's a no-lose, in my opinion, up the Blades, up all the Rambles. You went backwards recruiting Sayers. Yeah, absolutely right. 99% of the fan base will agree with you there, Chris. Phil says, beginning of the end for Cannon, unfortunately. I think we may be past the point of no return, to be honest, anyway. Wado says he has been training with us, Coventry. He'll be in good condition. He's been with us for over a month. So why didn't you pick him up? If he's that good a player, why didn't Cov pick him up? You know, it's them sort of things that irk me a little bit. But it's good to know, Wado. Thanks for letting me know, pal. Cooler King says, how many half-fit players do you want? Bamford and Davis can't stay fit. Campbell and Hamer can't get fully fit or play the full 90. Ings and Arblaster have had significant injuries, and me's an old man. Cooler King, stop analysing and being very accurate with your assessments of our players, please. Because that's worrying. And it's true. Yeah, lads, hope Paddy does well for you, says MW. Thank you, mate. Ian says, would not be surprised if he scored no goals and missed golden chances. Would not be surprised if he scored 10 goals in 10 games. That's Bamford marching on together. Johnny the Clown says, low risk seems ultimately like another injury-prone liability to add to the ever-growing list. Total waste if we don't or can't play him. Seems Wilder doesn't fancy anyone in the bloated squad. That's exactly right. That's another red flag to me, Johnny. I'm with you, mate. Do you have 20 to 15 million for Pirro? No, mate, we do not. He's got to be fit to pass a medical, says Mark. Yeah, match fitness is a different beast, though, isn't it? You know, we've signed players before. Chris Nachukwu were absent for 6 months after passing a medical, and then didn't play. I mean, even for 21s because he weren't fit. It's a fair point from Mark, says Bry. He is fit, says Wado. Russ says, I think we all need a reality check. Relegation battle, average players. Bamford's a no-risk signing until January. If it doesn't work, then fair enough. If not, then maybe lose even more points. James says, Wilder better get his act together in January and turn over this squad. Anyone not contributing to pulling their weight, get gone. 10 out for Jan, for me, minimum, including all loans. Wow. Wado says, Lampard said he's been training really well and looked sharp. We almost offered him a deal. Interesting, but didn't. Chris says, 1920 in the 2021 seasons, Bamford was great at Leeds. Just not seen that player consistently in years. Tazzy says, and rightly, it's 7 weeks, not a 3-year deal. That's fair. Spot on, you've nothing to lose, says Wado. This is where I back you boys for the playoffs, says Mark. Wow. One signing in Pat Bamford and you're backing us for the playoffs. Interesting. Dave Morwood says, glad he's in now. Get behind him. Up the positive blades. Up all the rambles. Up the blades. Andy Mack says, he's a good player, Jimmy. If he gets some confidence, he'll be very good for you. What about the lad at Bolton? Stay tuned tomorrow and we'll be talking about him, Phil. He'll be part of my plan for Jan. Please support the stream and drop a like, says Cuz. Top man. Thank you, my mate. Bremner Calvert says, Leeds fan here. Bamford's a good, useful player. Good at winding up centre-backs and can bring players into play. Get on the end of things as well. Good gamble, I think he'll do well. See, this is giving me a little bit more confidence. Leeds fans coming on, and we know we get on well with on the channel, the majority of Leeds fans. Well, there'll always be some we don't, but due to our previous, relationship with Conor and One Leeds, we sort of mutually respect each other's channels. They're coming on and giving us the majority are giving us an honest opinion of Big Pat. So, interesting. Scott says, Conor's actually turned me around a bit. Never thought I'd say that. He's a good-looking boy. You mean about Bamford? Okay, yeah, got you. Get behind Bamford. He will run all day for you, lot hard-working player. The Bamford and Wilder banter has brought them closer in my eyes. I agree. They both know it's banter and respect each other for it. Shane says he'll do a job. He lost his confidence at Leeds. Came back in this season, bulked up, looked strong. On his day, he'll score goals. Rich says, Leeds fan here, I'd rather have Bamford than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We'll swap you then if you want. If you fancy a swap deal, Rich, we're up for that. Chris Colchin says, hi Jimmy, hope you're well. I am, mate, hope you are too. One of our Platinum Ramblers. Honestly, I'm sat on the fence with this signing as he's on par, if not better, than our current forward trio. So fingers crossed. Up the blades, up the Ramble. Zonny says, just heard a rumour from a reliable source. Bamford got injured trying his kit on. Yeah, Davo got 2 at the Sky. Bobby Davison, thank you, mate. Do you lot remember the world he scored last season in the Cup? I have to go have a look if not. I think was that against Peterborough. A few people have already commented on, I think, to be honest. Paul says, hopefully you can turn your season round because golly, you needs it. Golly, we do. Nige, Bobby scored 2 and Whitehouse scored. I was only 11, but remember it well. Too young, me. Way before my time. Oh, you missed it, Jim. You said to Conor, I'm like, right, thank you, mate. I'd not got the reference. Bamford is the ultimate supporter splitter. Interesting. Just back him, says Bremner Calvert. I don't underestimate him. Love that. Ings and Bamford up top sounds good to me. After Ings made Campbell look like an OAP last game. Yes, that's embarrassing though, isn't it? Because Ings and Bamford are our oldest strike partnership by a distance. And embarrassing Campbell for work rate, who's 25, 26, whatever he is. Can't help but laugh, Jimmy, says Michael. Good signing in my opinion, can't be any worse than Cannon, says Super Sharp Blades. Chris says, I hope he does really well. I hope he does well for you lot. Thank you, mate. Me too. Couldn't write it. 2 up top might work, says Kelv. Wilder's number 1 hater says we must be getting desperate. Is that you, Dave Webster? Nige says, don't mind this at all, to be honest. No one else is firing. Robin says, Bamford is the ideal partner for Campbell too. Homefunk says, I just find it baffling how Cannon has been scapegoated so much. He started about 7 games as a striker. It's madness. Peck plays 20 average games, no problem. Cannon, we invest millions and he is out. Neil says, Jimmy, if Wilder wants an out-of-contract player, I'm free. I've got a pair of dodgy knees. I've not played in 25 years and I'll take around 25 grand a week or 200 quid till Jan. Fraser says, on the link to Bamford, the club confirmed new first-team performance fitness coach this morning. Bamford is the closest we have to what Sharp was. I disagree. I think Danny Ings is a very similar striker to Billy Sharp. Bamford's more of a hold-up, strong front man, I would say, in my opinion. A lot like Gary Medine was for us. I know people are referring to Gary Medine because of the way he came in, the fact that he's ex-Sheffield Wednesday, he'd had a pop at Billy in the past, none of us liked him. I think they're quite similar players, those two, in terms of what they can offer. So, Linda says, I think he'll do a good job for you, and he looked buff when he came back for the new season. I think the dressing room will be better for his presence, marching on together. I hope you're right, Linda. Reese's footy feed says, sometimes he's Pantsford, sometimes he's Bangford, a derby winner incoming. Thank you for the ideas for a couple of titles. If he's been involved in a significant incident, it's going to be Bangford or Pantsford, probably. Russ says, wouldn't get hung up on Coventry not wanting him. How many goals they scored this season already? Not sure he improves them at this point, but he improves us. Very fair. Steve says, Bamford's hold-up playing ability to occupy defenders can only be a good thing for you lot. We'll bring the likes of Hamer, O'Hare, even Tom Cannon into the game and afford them space to operate. Young Ferret says, Bamford's hold-up play is perfect for you lot. When he played for Leeds, we were much better. The unfortunate thing was the injuries. I want him to do well because he's a very good player. Bryce says, please like, subscribe and share this amazing Blades channel, people. 11k is the new target. Thank you, mate. Nige says, it's the past. He's in a Blades shirt and Wilder obviously wants him in, so no problem there. Million Chip says, Bamford's a confidence player. A different environment could make him more confident. Good luck with Pat as a Leeds fan. Thank you, my mate. Paul says, hi, Jimmy, mate. Great short-term signing. He scores goals at this level and we Blades are lacking goals. Good luck to him. Hope he does well. Big Bamford is a real threat. Hope he'll help Jimmy Powell up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Hope you're good. Robin says, it's a contract till January, Jimmy. So if he's injury prone, he goes in January most likely. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. 100% his Blades fans got to be upset to a degree. It'd be like Wrexham signing Billy Sharp. I understand that. Bamford was very supportive as one of the senior players at Leeds United to the younger forwards like Joe Geldart and Matteo Joseph. Both players said he was giving them pointers on positional play. Glenn says, for 8 games before January, I think we are better off with him as this is an option than without. He's got to offer more than Cannon. Robin says, just on the comparison to Tom Davis, Davis played about 6 games last season and less the season before. Bamford has had far better injury record than Davis. He played 17 games last season, Bamford, but I think it were about 235 minutes in total across the season. Matt Meldrew says, up the Patrick Bamford. Michael says, Farker mentioned that when Bamford wasn't getting game time at Leeds, he was disappointed but never kicked up a fuss. Trained hard and always advising the younger pros like Joffrey and Joseph. But Paul says, this is not great news. Okay, that is me at the end of the comments. Thank you to everyone for joining me. Thanks again to Conor for jumping on and giving us a Leeds perspective on what we're getting in Patrick Bamford. I have to say, after jumping on, hearing some of the comments, hearing some of your feedback, hearing Conor's opinion on it as well, I think I've turned a little bit. I think I'm all right with it. I think, you know, what is the harm that it can do? What are we losing by bringing him in for an 8-week period, 9-week period? Not a lot. Does he help somebody like Ryan Oney? If he offers nothing on the pitch, if he can give some pointers and some guidance to a young kid like Ryan Oney in the interim, who's in a similar build, then we can only benefit, I think, from this signing. It just gives us more options. So that's where I am now. So thank you to everybody that's sort of given me a positive spin on things. Fraser says, back into Sharp's career, he held the ball up more than most strikers and read the game and when to win fouls. I think his link up was underrated. That's the sharp link. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Danny Ings also does that. I think I've seen him sticking his backside out and winning free kicks and stuff like that. But I agree. I know what you mean, Fraser. They're certainly not the same build, Bamford and Sharp, but I understand why you would link him to that. Michael says, Jimmy, how do you think the fan base will take to Bamford? They'll support him. They'll support him. I've no doubt about it, because we want him to do well. Whether we agree with the signing or not, whether we think it's a little bit desperate or short-sighted or not thinking about the long term, don't matter what we think of it as a signing. If he plays for Sheffield United and he plays well, the fans will get behind him, like we did with Gary Medine. No danger about that. Neil says the thing with Gary Medine was he was still playing and wasn't injury-prone, unlike Bamford. But the big thing is, why is Campbell still not fit at 26 years old? Agreed. Mark Meldrew says, honestly, I am unsure on it, but we have to back him until we see otherwise. Agreed. Chris says, provided he stays fit, you'll be happy with the signing. And Cooler King says, at the end of the day, it's all about his availability. And that's right. If we can if he's available for selection, then we'll be able to judge him, won't we? Josh says, Wilder has always been a great man manager, but consistently stubborn with team selection and tactics, square pegs in round holes and questionable signings, but also very successful over the long term, Josh. So that's why he's given that freedom to make those sort of signings that he feels will benefit us, even if not all of us can see it immediately. So thank you again to everybody for joining us. I really appreciate it. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards, along with Big Pat, up the blades. And that didn't work. So I'm going to have to do something else to exit. How do we do that now? That's panicked me. See you in a bit.